The Dechambros are back.
We are back.
And we are on to the Truist Championship. It is a Siggy event. We got a signature event coming up right before a major. So I'm really excited for this week.
Yeah, a signature event in the truest form.
I see what you did there.
Okay, all right.
Let us know what's going on with the Truist, Dan.
Okay, so you are right. This week we have the Truist Championship. It's a brand new event, actually. So if you haven't heard of that word before, welcome to the party. This is new for us too. It's actually also being played at a new course. New course is really not the right term. It's kind of doing it a little bit of a disservice. This course actually ranks inside the top 100 year over year in America. So it's a really good course.
It's a great course, but new to the PGA Tour.
New to the
We've
PGA
never
Tour.
played here before.
Correct. So normally this week would be where Quail Hollow, of course, stages the annual elevated event for the Wells Fargo Championship. Last year that was run by Rory, right? But this year, Quail Hollow is actually doing the PGA Championship next week. So in preparation for that, they had to pick a new course this week and an entire new event called the Truist Championship. So and don't hold me to the name of this course because this one's it's a tongue twister, I tell you. It's called the Wissahickon at Philly Cricket Club.
Oh, you did good. I mean, for someone who, normally doesn't do the pronunciations right, I don't mind that one.
You know what? I think I threw a little T in there. It's Wissahickon. There's no T. I said Wissahickon. There's no T in that. It's Wissahickon.
Oh, there might be.
There is now. So this is the first time this course has been featured on the PGA schedule, as you said there, but it's actually been used in the Tour of Champions previously. So we do have a little bit of data that we can look into when we're talking about the bets this week. Now, usually there'd be doubts about how focused some of the world's leading players would be when playing a week before a major. Of course, next week is the PGA Championship, like we just said. But with it being an elevated event, the increased prize money and the bump to the FedEx Cup ranking points, hopefully it means we'll have a good showing this week. A few of the players in this limited size field will have had experience playing at the Wissahickon course at Philadelphia Cricket Club. I killed it that time. But this difficult layout isn't a grip it and rip it type of venue, and it's one that demands solid course management. So as I mentioned, this course was staged the Senior Players Championship, and the main takeaway from that was the scoring. So not one player broke par over that weekend, where Bernard Longer took the victory with a 1-over.
Jeez, that's a major championship course right there, man.
Yeah, it's going to be playing pretty tough, actually. So this week it's going to be playing as a par 70, measuring in at just over 7,100 yards. It is a field of 72, and there's going to be no cuts this weekend because it's an elevated event. As for the weather, there's rain predicted pre-tournament and during Friday's second round, and temperatures are supposed to be around modest, a little cold, actually. It's bent grass fairways and greens, and the rough rises to around 2.5 inches. And it consists of a blend of bluegrass and fescue, which awaits, some of those wayward strikes like I would be hitting. The course has many elevated or multi-tiered putting greens, all of which are protected by menacing bunkers. There's 118 bunkers across the entire course this week. So that's going to be a benefit for golfers who profile as ball strikers. For one, controlled boring golf plays way up, and for another, the greens are slightly below average in size, and they're unadulterating and unfamiliar. So there's going to be no competitive course advantage for good putters. Under ideal conditions, the green speeds are going to be prepared to touch 13 using the stip meter. So it's going to be a
putting on
tough
glass
play-in.
out there, man.
Yeah, it's going to
Holy.
be pretty fast. So this week, of course, it's the elevated event. We have a star-studded fields. Only missing last week's runaway winner and Scotty Scheffler, of course. We have the likes of Rory McIlroy coming off his Masters win, looking as strong as he ever has. We have JT coming off his first victory in a few years. We got Jordan Spieth, who looks like he's rounding into form just in time for the PGA Championship, where he too is looking for a Grand Slam.
Wouldn't that be something?
It
Two
would-
Grand Slams
in
in
the
one
same
year,
right?
Oh
With
my
how
God.
many there actually are in history, and having two in the same year would be quite something. We've got Russell Henley actually as well, who's already won an elevated event this year, and Colin Morikawa, who recently changed caddies, to Joe Grenier, who actually just helped JT get that win. So there's a lot of options this week, Shane. Who are you high on?
Yeah, I mean, really excited to get into the Truist Championship and just, to highlight some of the things that you said there, especially after, the absolute birdie fest that we saw last week. Really excited to see some competitive golf with some really, really high level players and big names. And I think that we would be crazy not to start this podcast by talking about the defending champion in Rory McIlroy. Like, Rory, of course, is the odds-on favorite going into this week at plus 450. I mean, let's face it, it's been the year of Rory. I mean, we said it's going to be, it currently is. We are living in the world of Rory McIlroy. He does have a lot of really good showings at this tournament. So obviously not at the Truist because it's a new course, it's a new name. But I mean, a name and a sponsor doesn't mean anything. The course itself means a lot, but just based on, the overview of the course and how you said it, it's going to play tough. It's going to play like a major championship venue. It's going to play like Quail Hollow, where we're used to seeing these players play this week. So
it's almost the perfect preparation course for Quail Hollow, right?
Oh,
like setting these players up
100%.
perfectly for the challenge that's going to be ahead.
100%, man. And I mean, if we look back at Rory, like obviously we've highlighted Rory time in and time again in terms of this podcast. So instead of talking about all the great that he's done this year that we already know, I wanted to talk a little bit about the great he's done at this tournament, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he won this last year in 2014. 2023 was a tough year for him here, T47. 2022, fifth, and 2021, he won it again, right? So this is a week where Rory consistently performs. I'm really excited to see Rory coming back into what I'd call competitive golf, seeing as the Zurich was a little bit more of a hit and giggle with him and Shane Lowry. I think that he's going to perform very, very well. But for me, taking a look into the odds, it's not something, I mean, plus 450, I think there's more players out there that can win it. So I don't think that's enough for me to bet. And then looking even his top finishes were just nothing that I was really interested in touching.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, odds are tough with betting Rory. I mean, they make sense as to why he's so favored in this event. I'm going to go through a little bit of stats here, and like, there's going to be one thing that strikes you, that nothing is over the 10th on tour in any of these stats here. Second, strokes gained on total. First, strokes gained off the tee. Third, driving distance. Ninth, strokes gained putting. Sixth, scrambling. Second, scoring average. Second, one putt percentage. I mean, we can go on, but you get the picture, right? Like, Rory
100%.
is favored for a reason. It's the year of Rory. For me in this tournament, though, with so many star-studded players, I'm going to chase a few odds, and I don't particularly enjoy Rory's odds if I was to say bet something like a top 5, which is at minus odds right now, right? So for me, I'm going to be chasing different odds. However, I mean, it's Rory, right? He's most likely going to be placing top 5, doing well for people who are going to be betting on him. I just won't be one of those this week because there's some juicy odds out there to seek out.
For sure. Absolutely. Could not agree more. So let's move off of Rory and move on to a couple of highlighted players that we like going into this week.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
First highlighted player that I'm looking at this week is Xander Schauffele. So Xander is plus 1,600 to win, our guy for sure. Talking about this tournament first, right? Previous showings. The last 2 years, he came in second. So he's been runner-up in this tournament 2 years in a row. Back to 2021, he came in 14th. So again, this is a week in the schedule where Xander shows up to play. It was a really tough start and tough season for Xander, as we know. But if I look at his last 3 tournaments, the Valspar T12, the Masters T8, the RBC Heritage T18, Xander is showing some signs of coming back into form, coming back into the Xander that we knew last year, coming back into the Xander that won the PGA Championship that, hey, happens to be next week. So I really have a close eye on Xander as this being a really good tune-up matchup or a tune-up tournament for him going into the PGA Championship, where, of course, he wants to defend his belt, man.
Yeah, I mean, I love Xander, right? And I can agree with you. His year so far hasn't been up to his standards, but of course he had that injury. And, you know, talking about his prior history, you know, this week, and I say this week because I can't say at this course, right? And so hearing all these top finishes, it's exciting, but it's not at this course. And so what does that truly mean? I'm not sure. And at the same time, I'm also not sure what the stats I'm about to read out to you mean, because we know he was injured to start the year. And we've seen that he's put some solid, you know, showings together, including a top 10 finish at the Masters, right? Unfortunately, we weren't able to see many of those shots on Sunday. I will continue to bitch about that.
Next to none of them.
But here, so let's talk about some stats, right? Strokes gained total, 114th on tour. Strokes gained off the tee, 162 on tour. Strokes gained approaching the green, he's 5th. So, you know, he's dialed approaching, right? Greens and reg, 45th. Sand saves, 41, which I like the sand save statistic this week because of 118 bunkers. Many of the greens are going to be surrounded by bunkers. Multiple of them, right? So having good sand save, I think, is going to be important. But then going back to, you know, some of his mediocre stats is his putting average is 142nd on tour, right? Again, not as many opportunities as some of the other players reporting stats. But what are we going to get out of Xander, right? Is he truly on the rise back to his true form, or is he still trying to figure it out? I'm just not sure.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where, again, when I take, and I love having this podcast with you because we look at the game so different, right? And when I take a look at the statistics that you brought out there in terms of Xander, again, I kind of go back to his shots gained on approach to the green is 5th on tour. That means that man is hitting greens in regulation. So putting average 142nd, like how many of those putts are 25, 30, 40 feet? Because he's hitting the green. So I think it's a little bit skewed on there. I mean, that high of a putting average definitely does scare me a little bit. But it's one of those, like Xander's one of those players, especially the year that he's having this year, where I am kind of throwing all the statistics out the window and going straight on feel and straight on gut and straight on how he's playing currently, right? Not worried about the first 3 tournaments of the year. I'm worried about the last 3 tournaments. And the last 3 tournaments show me that there's a spark in Xander. And hey, I think that this is a good week, you know, for him to continue to push forward, knowing that he has the pressure of defending his belt next week and he has to be in perfect form.
At a course that he plays historically well at, mind you, in Quail Hollow.
Yeah, there you go.
So there we go. The research is working for us, kid.
That's it. That's it. Who do you got, Tim?
Okay, so I really, I'm high on Russell Henley this week.
Interesting.
So, you know, this is a name that I famously said was the best in the field a week before he won the Arnold Palmer, right? And I didn't bet him the week that I said that, nor did I bet him the week that he won the Arnold Palmer. Not sure I'll be making that mistake again this week. I'll be honest with you. Playing 9 tournaments this year, he's only missed 1 cut. He's finished inside the top 10 5 times, with his win coming at the Arnold Palmer, of course, which was an elevated event. He has top finishes at some of the hardest courses this year, despite being cut at the Masters, which is a tough look. He did follow that up, though, with a T8 at the RBC Heritage, and he comes into this tournament boasting a 5th on tour in strokes gained total, 15th on tour approach green, 14th on tour in putting, 12th driving accuracy, 3rd greens in regulation, 4th proximity to a hole when approaching the green, 11th in putting, 30th in sand saves, 4th in scoring average, and 4th birdie average. I could keep going, but I didn't write anything else down. I love Russell Henley this week. He's plus 2,700 to win. He's plus 425 for a top 5, plus 200 for a top 10, and minus 130 for a top 20. I love Russell Henley this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with the resume that Russell's been putting together this year. I mean, like you said, he's having a phenomenal year. T10 at the Sony, T5 at the AT&T, a 6th at the Cognizant. He won the Arnold Palmer. Like, he's having a great year. That being said, his last 3 starts are a bit of a roller coaster, and they put a little bit of doubt and worry in my mind. So let's go back 3 tournaments or 3 starts ago. T30 at the Players, then of course missed the cut at the Masters, T8 at the RBC. So it's one of those things of like, hey, has Russell figured it out again, right? Did he lose it a little bit and then something sparked at the RBC and he's back? Or is he still trying to figure it out? It's just one of those things that, I don't have my eye as close on Russell as you do, just on that worry and inconsistency of how he's been playing recently.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's fair. Truthfully, I think golf is such a hard sport, and we put people on such high pedestals that when I actually take a look at his finishes and the year he's having, I don't see it as a negative that he, missed the cut at them. That's a hard tournament, dude. And like, you have to be so on mentally, like any little thing could, you know what I mean? Could throw that off. And to kind of follow that up with the T8 at RBC, to me just shows that like, he's not broken. His spirit isn't, like, he's still there. He's still the same. His stats are showing it. I got a lot of faith in Russell this week. So
only time will tell.
There we go.
There you go. What else you got for me, Tan?
The next guy I highlighted was, the winner of that RBC Heritage in Justin Thomas.
Absolutely love this.
So, of course, he's been resting since that playoff win at the RBC Heritage, his first win in 2 years. Which was added to his already strong 2025 resume. He had a pair of runner-up finishes previously this year as well. His irons are hot, and he's number 1 in putts per green in regulation. Okay? Added to that, he's 4th strokes gained total, 7th on tour approaching the greens, 5th one-putt percentage to go along with that first on tour in putts per green in regulation, 2nd in birdie average, and 9th on tour in scoring average. JT is a strong competitor. He's gone low multiple times on hard courses this year.
Course records. And
he should be as confident as he's ever been in his career that he could win at a course like this. So I'm pretty high on Justin. Plus 1,700 to win, plus 280 for a top 5, plus 130 for the top 10, and then a little bit of a minus 190 for a top 20. So really kind of looking at those, that top 5 if you're thinking about Justin this week. But I think you should be confident if that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love that pick and love that highlight of Justin Thomas this week. I mean, Justin has won this tournament 4 times previously, obviously at Quail Hollow, but I mean, we're talking about a bit of comparisons in terms of the difficulty of the course and preparing for the PGA Championship. I mean, even the last 3 years that he played this tournament when he was having what we would call kind of off years for Justin Thomas, T21, T14, and T26 the last 3 years. So even when Justin is off, he finds something with his game in this week and playing in this tournament. I mean, obviously, like you said, Justin's coming off his win at the RBC Heritage, putting together a hell of a season. I mean, 2nd at the Valspar, T9 at the Genesis, T6 at the Waste Management, 2nd at the American Express. I mean, for me, I think that Justin is in great form. I think that the Justin that we know and love is the Justin that we are currently seeing out of him. And I think he's going to win. I think he's going to contend. I think that a top finish here puts him in a real good place, not only in his game, but in his mental going into a PGA Championship at a course that, like we said, we know he dominates at. For sure, keep your eye on Justin Thomas this week as someone who is going to come out there and contend to make sure that his form is where he wants it to be going into next week.
Yeah. I mean, I think bettors should be really confident in Justin Thomas this week. And I mean, I guess like you said, time will only tell, right?
For sure.
Who else you got this week, Shane?
Someone I really like coming into this week that I don't think many people have highlighted on their boards, which is why I absolutely love him. I have Daniel Berger as a highlighted player that I'm looking at going into this week. So at plus 4,000 to win, obviously he's got, Vegas doesn't think he has what it takes. This is Daniel's maiden voyage here at the Truist. So it didn't even play it back when it was at Quail. This is his first time playing at this tournament. he's been having a great season so far. So if we look at his top finishes, T2 at the Waste Management, 12th at the Genesis, 15th at the Arnold Palmer, T20 at the Players, T3 at the Heritage. He also has 2 T21s sprinkled in there at the American Express and the Masters. This is something you're going to love that I highlighted. Over the last 6 months, he is ranked 3rd in total strokes gained and 6th in strokes gained T2 green. Daniel Berger right now is playing some of the best golf in his career. I think that this week is going to be a big week for Daniel Berger to come out and say, hey, this is how I'm playing this week, and this is why you should have my name in your mouth when you're talking about who can win next week at the PGA Championship. I think he's playing great golf. I think he has something to prove. I love Daniel Berger this week.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Berger, I think, is somebody that I overlook a little bit. And I probably shouldn't. Taking a look at some of these stats here, I just don't know why, right? And even hearing what you said there, someone who could win next week, I almost laughed, and not disrespectfully. Just I don't. Why do I think this way, right? Why am I overthinking it? Why don't I give Daniel some respect? Well, let's take a look at some stats here, right? And they really do back up a lot of what you're saying here. You had mentioned 6 strokes gained in the last few months. He's 9th in the whole year so far, right? Strokes gained total. He's 30th strokes gained off the tee. He's 38th strokes gained approaching the greens. He's 50th putting. Okay, so not terrible at all. Driving accuracy is 8th, which will be important this week. Scrambling, he's 14th. Scrambling from the rough, he's 3rd on tour. Putting average 78 again. Putting could use a little work, but putting stats you keep talking about are very inconsistent because of what are the distances, right?
100%.
Birdie average around 57th on tour, right? So a lot of what I see here is he's got a lot of skills. He's just not getting birdies all the time that he needs to be putting up higher placements than T21s. And T21s are great placements, and T13s are great placements. So again, I don't know why I don't give him...
So are T2s, baby.
Right? Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why I don't give him as much credit as he deserves, because he's obviously having a great year, right?
Yeah, and this is why I absolutely love him as, a quote-unquote sleeper, because when you're looking at his finishes so far this year and you're looking at his statistics, I mean, we just highlighted Justin Thomas for having a phenomenal year. I'd put Daniel Berger's year side by side with Justin Thomas, minus the name of Justin Thomas, and of course, minus the win, right? If Justin was able to convert one of those second places into a win, he would be debatably having a better year than Justin, and he's not even being talked about. So it's someone that I absolutely love, that he's kind of that, that dark horse, or that, you know what I mean? That far-fetched bet.
I know you love a good debate. Here's a good debate for you. No, here's a real good debate though, okay?
I do.
I know you do. Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
Year by year, side by side, whose is stronger? Whose is better?
So what years?
This year, right now, this year.
Justin
both with
Thomas's.
one win. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that's a really, you were so fast to it. I'm still struggling with what my answer would be. You were so quick to that one.
Yeah, I mean.
I agree that his win is stronger in the sense of where it was, what tournament it was, but Scotty's strength of placements and play is just, there's no dip. There's zero dip.
Yeah.
Justin Thomas has a lot of strong placements, and there's a few dips. There hasn't been a dip in Scotty's game, right? So that's why it's in my head.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, if you want to get on that topic, I love Scotty. This win this last week is a cheap win. It's a cop-out win. It's a go beat a bunch of nobodies. Like, you won by 8 strokes. Good for you against
Still love
who?
it.
Like, yeah. And maybe that's what Scotty needed. Maybe he needed that tune-up game where he can just go and beat the piss out of everybody and get that confidence back. And if that's the case, I love it, and look out for Scotty for the rest of the year.
Well, like you said, if he didn't win this week, was he going to win multiple times this year? We didn't know. Looks like he's probably going to win 3 times, maybe even 4, after seeing something like that.
100%. 100%. So
yeah, let's keep going here this week, though, Shane. I know you're eyeing somebody that you're fading this week.
Yeah, we've been talking about a lot of people that we think have a really good chance of placing this week, and I wanted to have a super hot take here on a fade, and I'm going to back this up for you. I am fading Colin Morikawa this week going into the Truist.
Morikawa.
I'm fading Morikawa, and I'm going to tell you why. Previous showings last year was T14, missed the cut in 2023. Colin has had a lot of success so far this year, but his last couple of showings leave something to be desired with his game. He missed the cut at the Zurich, T54 at the RBC Heritage. Not only is he missing something with his game right now, you mentioned this at the start of the podcast, he has a new caddy on the bag. Now, obviously, Joe and Justin were able to go out in their first week together and win, but that's not always the case, right? I mean, the relationship between a caddy and a player can be somewhat complicated. And if that caddy does not know that player's shots and the shot shapes and where he wants to go and how he is looking at the course and what he's thinking, you can have a lot of problems. And the last few weeks of Colin playing, to me, show that he might not have an idea of where his ball is going and what he's doing. So for that reason, I think that Colin is currently in a search for a spark, right? I think that's the reason why he changed who was on his bag from his long-time career-long caddy. I think that he's searching for something. I don't think that he's going to find it his first time out with a caddy who's going to be searching and trying to find something as well. For that reason, I'm taking, someone who's in the top 5 favorites to win this tournament, and I'm staying very far away from him.
I'm shocked, honestly. Fiery take from the kid. Let's go.
Let's get it started, man. You know what I mean?
Listen. First, I'm shocked you can see talent like that and fade him. He's top 25, 6 out of 8 tournaments this year, right? He's finished second twice already. And the way you talked about, his last few tournaments and switching caddies, I don't see it as a negative. I see it as a positive. And here's what I see. I absolutely love someone who's a 2-time major champion, who has finished second twice this year. It's part of my thought process, understanding where this brain gets these crazy ideas from.
That's why I stopped myself from cutting you off.
Yeah, a 2-time major champion, been with that same caddy his entire career, deep friend, right? Deep friend. Finished second twice this year. One of them, he should have won the tournament, basically gave the tournament away, right? And he sees this and he says, you know what? I'm not satisfied with second place. I'm not satisfied with where my game is right now. And I'm willing to make these drastic changes from one of my best friends who I've known, my comfort level, all of this, to going to someone named Joe Grenier, who, in my opinion, he's so hot right now, dude. Joe Grenier is so hot right now, okay, in the caddy market. And I think, like you're saying, he doesn't fully have confidence in where his ball is going to go. And I think he's going to lean on the confidence of Joe Grenier. And I think that's going to do extremely, extremely well for his game. I think he's going to have the ability to stop overthinking everything and let Joe do a lot of the thinking for him. I'm almost like, I don't know what the correct word I'm trying to think of is here, but I'm motivated by his not being stagnant in his game and wanting better for himself and going and doing it.
Yeah, and that's all fine and great. And, consistently going and working towards perfection and finding a way to be better is great. But a lot of the times before you get better, you get worse. And I mean, let's open the topic on here. Do you think that it was Joe that won Justin his tournament? Or do you think it's the fact that Joe was on Justin's bag? Justin is hot right now. And no matter who was on his bag, Justin was winning that damn tournament. I don't think the caddy change is what won the tournament for Justin. I think Justin won the tournament. Just like I don't think the caddy change is going to be the answer this week for Colin Morikawa. Like if Colin Morikawa is going to figure it out, he's going to figure it out himself.
Yeah, so you should listen to the interview that Pardon My Take did with Justin Thomas after he won, and he had a lot of positives to say about Joe. And I mean, like, if he didn't have his longtime caddy coming back off injury, then, I think Justin would have stayed with Joe. You know what I mean? And I think Justin was at a point where he was getting so close, couldn't get it pushed over the edge. And do I think that Joe alone was the reason Justin went? No, Justin was so hot. Justin was on the way. Do I think that Joe helped him that week? Yes, fully. I don't think Justin just didn't listen to Joe the entire time. I think there was a combination, and I think that the fire was hot, right? I think that just the perfect situation happened. You got someone like Joe coming in, and I think the type of person Joe is, he's around the same age as all these guys. He hangs out. Like, I just think he gets these guys and understands how to push or pull or prod or not prod when it's needed based on his relationships with them. It's not like this is somebody that Morikawa doesn't know. He's good friends with him too.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
I mean, obviously being a longtime caddy for Max Homa, everybody, you know what I mean, in that kind of group and being friendly with each other. Like, it's not, Colin didn't meet Joe this morning and sign him. I get that. But Joe hasn't been on Colin's bag, and it's gonna take time to learn the mannerisms of that player. He just went from Max Homa, who he's been with forever, knowing exactly what Max is thinking all the time, then to Justin, where spark happened, that's great. Now to Colin. So you have a caddy who's been relearning players and has to relearn a player again. I don't see it.
That's fair. I mean, we saw Joe go on Justin's bag, and Justin had a decent finish at the Masters. Even our boy that Joe left, Max Homa, had a decent finish at the Masters the week he left with a brand new caddy. Like, I don't think a brand new caddy is going to hinder him. I think, if anything, this is a caddy that could increase his odds. And I don't know. That's what I'm betting on, right? I think it's. I like Colin Morikawa this week. Of course, you don't, but only time will tell.
That's it, brother. That's it. Who are you fading this week?
Something similar to what you're saying here. I'm going in the top 10 of, odds favors to win this tournament. And I'm taking Victor Hovland out of the mix. So,
okay.
He's just a little bit too wildly inconsistent for me to have any faith in his game, especially at a tough course like this one. While he boasts a strong 9th on tour and strokes gained approach to the green, his strokes gained total is 64. Strokes gained off the tee is 85, 71st greens in regulation, and 115th putting. He's entered 8 tournaments. He won one of the tournaments this year, right? But that happened directly after missing the cut 3 times in a row. Like, it's just so hard to get an understanding on where his game is week to week. And for him to be the 9th favorite to win this tournament, that just makes no sense to me. I have no confidence in his game, so I'm taking him off my board for those reasons.
Yeah. And I mean, you talk about confidence in his game. Not only do you not have confidence in his game, I don't think that Victor does, right? And I mean, Victor,
even after his win.
Victor himself, even after his win, has stated like he doesn't know where his game's at or why it's been so up and down. And obviously, it has been a roller coaster year for Victor as well. That being said, okay, his last 3 showings, he won at the Valspar, T21 at the Masters, and T13 at the RBC Heritage. So I think that this one might come to bite you in the ass. I think that Victor is showing signs that he is finding his form. He was lost, and now he is found. And just like we had a discussion with Xander earlier in terms of it's really hard to go on statistics and how he's been doing this year because he was so bad at the beginning, but he's doing well right now. If you have those last 3 tournaments and you tell me, anybody coming into this tournament's going from a 1st, a 21st, and a 13th, I would say that they deserve to be in, the top of the odds. Maybe not 9th, but I think personally, this one might come to bite you. Like, do I think he's going to win? No, right? Do I think that he has a chance of a top finish? Absolutely. With the way that he has been playing and he's been, showing us that he has found his game in the last 3 tournaments. I think that you think I have a hot take with Colin. I think that you have a real hot take with Victor, and I'm really excited to figure out who's right and who's wrong on this one.
I mean, in my opinion, Victor Hovland at plus 2,700 to win. What would, and I wish I looked this up, but what would the odds be for him to not make the cut as the 9th favorite to win the tournament? Those are odds I would love to chase with a small, a small little bet.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I can understand why you're saying that. I have zero faith in his game, and I don't think he's shown me anything beyond that win, which he wasn't even happy about, his game in that win. I don't know. I haven't seen it this year.
But that's also a great thing too. I mean, when we talk about Scotty and we say that Scotty's been playing at his floor so far this year, which is just great golf, right? So if he is saying, okay, hey, I won and I'm not happy with my game, and then I follow that up with almost a top 20, a T21, right? Then you follow that up with a top 20, like he was completely lost, and it seems like he is starting to find something.
I guess the only issue with that statement is you shouldn't have used Scotty as an example, because Scotty's floor this year has been top 20 and his has been a missed cut
well, for sure
times.
his floor is way worse.
Right, so it's just this. I don't have confidence in the 9th best odds. I think there's better odds to seek out there, but I mean, like you're saying, it could come back to bite me in the ass, right?
Only time will tell.
God, I'm gonna hate that statement after this fucking episode.
Beautiful. Well, hey, before we move on and we talk about, who we have actually put our money on and the picks that we have, wanted to shout out you guys for viewing. If you've made it this far in the podcast, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. If you want to show some support, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel.
Like and subscribe.
Share it to your friends. I mean, we're just two brothers who absolutely love talking about golf, and we love having you guys around for the ride with us. So appreciate you guys, and a big shout out to you.
I say I love Bryson every single time, but I love you guys as well. So thank you.
All right, let's move on to our picks, because that's what everyone is here for.
Let's get it.
I'm going to start with my top 20 pick for the week. My top 20 pick, Tanner, is going to be none other than Daniel Berger at plus 100. I mean, I said it before and I will say it again. Daniel Berger right now is playing some of the best golf of his career. He has all of the momentum at his back, with the opportunity to have, a real good top finish carrying him into the PGA Championship. I love Daniel Berger's game this week, and I absolutely love Daniel Berger for a top finish in a top 20 this week today.
I love it. Okay. All right. Perfect. So my top 20 pick this week, I did a little bit of soul searching, and I did a little bit of Shane searching. Okay. And so, like you had said a little bit earlier, you go a lot based off of feel when you're making your picks, right? And I really hone in on stats, and I do it with every sport I bet. I'm an analytical guy. I look at the stats. I look at what each player's done previous game. Big on the stats, right? This is a marriage of what I feel when I saw somebody's name and the stats that back it up. My top 20 is Justin Rose.
Wow.
At plus 137. And here's the deal. People got to start putting more respect on Rosie's name, okay? People got to put more respect on his name. Looking over the odds, so many golfers were at minus odds for the top 20 pick. And then you've got Justin Rose at plus 137. It's disgrace, to do that to our guy, Justin Rose. A major winner, a Masters runner-up this year, technician of a ball striker, and he's sitting at plus odds. He's an accurate driver of the ball, albeit distance is not his strength. However, this week, that's not going to be an issue, right? He's one of the best putters on tour, ranking inside the top 10 in putting strokes gained, birdie or better conversion, and proximity to hole from sand, which is going to be important with those bunkers. This could be a sneaky, sneaky pick for me. I'm really high on Justin Rose top 20 this week. I knew that was going to be one to throw out there. I didn't let you know about that beforehand.
Yeah, I love it. And I mean, hey, I can't argue with us or argue with you. Sorry. I mean, Justin Rose, historically great player. Like you said, major champion. Even if you go back to last year, he has come second in the last two majors. So, I mean, Justin Rose is a gamer, man, and he definitely gets forgotten about, I think, with this newer generation coming up that we talk about so much. I absolutely love that pick for you. I love the odds at plus 137 and excited to see how Rosie goes for you.
Let's go.
Who you got top 10, brother?
Well, this is going to go quite heavily against your fade of the week, but in top 10, I've got Colin Morikawa.
I love that.
Plus 125. And hear me out. So, talked a little bit earlier based on what you had said, but this is what I wrote down earlier today in regards to Colin Morikawa, right? So, he's another player who looks to be on the cusp of scooping a big prize this year. Last victory came in 2023 at the Zozo Championship. He's 28 years old. He's been a runner-up twice this season at the Century and the Arnold Palmer, and he's registered a top 10 at the Players Championship. He was T14 at the Masters and shared 17th place at Pebble and at Genesis Invitational this year. He ranked second for driving accuracy and third for strokes gained in approach and tee to green. He's a two-time major champion who's looking to hit his peak form at the perfect time. And I'm hoping that this week gives him a good confidence boost heading into the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow next week. I think the changing caddy is something he obviously felt was needed. And I like Colin and Joe to go get a top placement this week.
I love that pick because there is going to be some drama in our house this week. It's either going to be an I told you so from me or an I told you so from you. And I mean, we're going to say it again. Only time will tell.
I'm going to walk down the only time will tell when he's fucking top 10. You watch.
I mean, hey, we'll see. I don't see it. You do. And that's, that's what I love about this podcast. We have two completely different viewpoints. And I love it because the last few weeks we've been so similar in the picks, and having this, signature event and having these big names up there and having the ability to have such separate opinions is what I love about golf. And it's what I love about betting golf with you is that, hey, we have these, these bets obviously here, these side bets in our home, and it's going to be a hell of a weekend if Colin Morikawa misses the cut.
It's funny. I had like 3 people I was considering in top 10, and it goes back to that. I just like having fun sometimes, and like that's a more fun pick for me than who I was going to pick and who I took out entirely, who probably should have been my top 5 in all fairness, but I went another route because I like having a little bit too much fun sometimes. But truthfully, in my opinion, the stats prove, and I really do think he, was just very frustrated the last few weeks, which is why he's had some of those lower placements. And, if he does really bad this week, it's going to suck for me, right? But in my opinion, I think, a professional who sees that he wants to do better goes and makes the changes he thinks are going to get him there. I think this is a week. It's a prove it thing for him too, right? Yeah. And he's got a lot going for him. So.
Hey, he's been having a great year. Let's see if he's going to have a great week.
Let's go. Love it.
My top 10 is actually someone who hasn't been having a great year. I picked our guy, Xander Schauffele, at plus 135. And the reason why I picked Xander is those previous 3 tournaments that he's played. Like the last 3 tournaments have shown me that Xander is back to being the Xander that we know and love, back to the Xander that absolutely dominated the majors last year, back to the Xander who is going into this tournament as a tune-up round to be able to get himself in the best form that he can be in going into next week where he is defending his title. I love Xander in a top placement of a top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's another one of those, right? Like you're just banking on the fact that he's back and that this is, the true Xander, right? I don't hate the pick whatsoever, but when I saw the odds, do I have the confidence that he's fully back yet, right? Obviously, you're banking on the fact that this is that opportunity for him to get that
100%. Do you have the confidence? I do.
There you go. Love it. Love to hear it. All right.
Beautiful. Let's move on to my top 5 then.
Let's go. Who you got for me?
I got Justin Thomas at plus 290. I mean, we've talked about him a bunch on the podcast. We've talked about him a bunch on, the podcast today, right?
Yep.
Looking at the year that Justin's having so far, 3 top 5s, including his win, a 6th place finish sprinkled on top of that, I think that this week, Justin is going to go out there. He's going to play with determination, and he's going to make sure that, just like Xander, his game is in its top form, looking at going into Quail Hollow next week where he absolutely dominates. And his mental game is going to be there next week because that's a course that he knows better than he knows his own hand, right? And I think the only thing that he has to guarantee is that his game is in form. I think that this week he shows us once again that his game is in form, that Justin Thomas is back, and that Justin Thomas is here to stay in 2025. And I have him as my top 5 pick for this week.
I absolutely love it. I mean, Justin Thomas was the person I was going to put in the top 10 or top 5, right? And, I like being able to talk about a few other people as well. And, I really am high on Justin, which is why I wanted to highlight him. But I went away from Justin for our picks. With my top 5, I'm going Russell Henley. Okay. Again, he's won at an elevated event this year. He's only missed the cut 1 time this year, finishing inside the top 10 5 times. With his win coming at the Arnold Palmer. He has top finishes at, some of the hardest courses this year. The only thing, again, it scares me is that, the missed cut at the Masters, right? Yep. Which, it's definitely tough, but he followed it up with a top 8 at the RBC Heritage. I'm not going to go through the stats again. People can go back in the pod for that one, but Russell Henley for me is one of those things where maybe I'm just chasing the fact that I should have picked him a few weeks back when I was talking about him and didn't. It's one of those things in my brain again where I'm like, I'm not going to make that mistake again. Russell Henley is my pick for top 5 at plus 425. So if you want to chase some fun odds, let's talk Russell Henley.
Yeah, I don't mind that pick at all. And what's interesting to me about your picks and just kind of the way that I analyze it, both your top 10 and your top 5 picks are 2 players that have been having phenomenal years, that their game is kind of in question right now. And I mean, obviously Russell with that T8, it looks like I like the Russell Henley pick better than the Colin Morikawa one is kind of where I'm going with that.
I figured with your fade of the week. But.
Yeah, obviously, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't mind that pick at all. Really interested to see if Russell's game is trending back into that top form and if he can have a good week for you.
Yeah. I mean, hey, the stats are there to show it. The finishes are there to show it. And I liked the odds a little better. So we're going to have some fun this week. We have 3 completely separate picks each time. That's, I think, a first for us because we've always at least shared one pick somehow.
It could be. Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Fired up for this week. Another elevated event, the Truist Championship at the Wickahissahickton. I did that one on purpose.
Yeah, you brought the T back in there. Well, beautiful.
The Philly Cricket Club.
Thank you so much, guys, again, for joining us this week.
Like and subscribe.
Looking forward to the Truist. Tanner, anything else you have to add?
I love you, Bryson.